if you have a Capital One credit card and your credit limit seems stuck, like no matter what you do, you can't get a raise, you cannot get an increase. And if you do get an increase, the increase is like $100. This video is going to make sense to you, because a lot of people think they're doing something wrong when in reality you're just playing the wrong game. Capital One is in fact a good credit card. It's just they put you in different brackets when you first start. So what I'm going to teach you is how you can get $10,000 with your first ever credit card with Capital One using strategies that I've used for my clients. I'm going to put a few screenshots here just so you know I'm not just speaking, I actually have done these things. My name is Ja, aka 100K Ja, and I teach people how to build, structure, and repair their credit the way lenders want to see it so you can get funding. And I feel like Cap One is one of the most misunderstood lenders because they're heavy on data points, but they're very giving to newer clients. Most of the clients that I've helped get $10,000 or $5,000 Cap One credit cards, they had a new profile. So I know if they can do it, you can do it too. All right, so first we're going to talk a little bit about Capital One. So Capital One is one of the more looser credit card companies that you can get a card with them even if you have fair credit, even if you have good credit, you have poor credit and excellent credit. It doesn't matter with them, and I feel like that's the reason why most of us think that Capital One is not a good financial institution, just because they're willing to give out to so many different credit categories, when in reality the reason why you can't get a credit line increase is because whatever category that you applied for, that is the category that they stick you with until you get a new card. So rather you're rebuilding your credit or your credit is excellent, Cap One is a great lender to have on your profile 100%. So rather if you're rebuilding your profile or if you have excellent credit, Capital One is one of the greatest lenders to have on your profile. Cap One is one of the largest subprime lenders in the United States. They also have starter credit cards, as I said before, and we're going to dive into a little bit. I'm going to show y'all exactly what I mean by they put you in different categories depending on whatever you apply for. I'm going to show you a few of the cards, like the Quicksilver. They have four actually different cards, and it's going to give you a little bit of an idea of what I'm talking about. All right, so first let's talk about Capital One's bucket system. I'm sure you haven't heard about it before, and this is the reason why you're not getting the credit line increases that you want, or the increases that you're getting, they're getting outright denied. It's because they have a bucket system for whenever you apply, the first time that you apply. I know when you did a pre-approval screen, they showed you the cards that you can get. So if you are in the fair category, let's say for instance they would start you at something around like 200 to like 500. It's rare that you get like $1,000, and then your cap may be like $1,200 or even $1,000 because you started in that fair category. Even if you increase your scores over time and you build your profile out, Cap One is very strict about their bucketed system. They do not care. So if you were someone that started out in the good category, like, and you got one of the Quicksilver cards, they have about two different Quicksilver cards. They have a Quicksilver and then they have a Quicksilver Cash Rewards, I believe. And then so with those limits, you may be capped out at somewhere in between about $3,000 or $5,000 or even $10,000 because you started in that good category. Even if you build your profile out, compared to someone who started in an excellent category, your limit may be $20,000 or higher because you already started their relationship out with excellent credit, so they're not going to limit you. Cap One has a system in place that prevents you from getting credit line increases based on the type of card you're using. They have it. It's just something that they have in their system. You can have perfect credit, perfect payment history, and high credit scores in a relationship for many years. Cap One still will deny you, or you will get those very low limits. That's just how it is. All right, so what is Capital One's bucket system exactly? Capital One groups all sorts of clients into categories based on credit score at the time of the application. In these buckets, representations on different levels of risk, and any Capital One credit card you receive falls into one of these predefined buckets. All right, so let's go on to the Capital One's website so I can give you an example for it. As you can see, we're on their website right now, and I'm going to show you this example using Quicksilver. As I said, excellent category, annual fee. You see this one has different benefits, 1.5 cash back. You earn $200, low APR for 15 months. All right, now let's go to the good one. You see how the benefits change. You lose that 200, you lose that APR, and it's just a good card. This is the card that I say you may be capped out at like $3,000 on. This card you may be capped out at 20, or you may not even be capped because it's an excellent card. They're literally going to give you money for that card. This card, you're not going to get money for it. It's just, that's just how it is. Now let's go to the fair one. This one, you have to pay to have this card. So if you have bad credit, you literally have to pay to have this card. This is a bill credit with responsible use card, basically. You still get the 1.5 cash back, but you'll be capped out at like $1,000 or $2,000 with this card. And then they have other ones here. They have another fair one. It's a secure card though. You have to put your money onto this card to even get this. So this one is something where you would put, say for instance, like $500 to $200 on this card. You have to wait a certain amount of time. Usually it's about 6 months. You have to get a credit line increase, and then you'll get a refund, and then you get basically the same benefits. So it's basically the fair card, but with you adding more than that $39 annual fee. This card costs $39 to have for Cat One fair credit card. It's one of the unused cards, the most unused cards that Cat One has. It's an annual fee for it. It just goes to show you that your score plays an important factor when it comes to building your credit. And this is exactly what Cat One shows you. Whatever category that you start in, that is the category you're going to be capped in. So let's go over it again. The fair credit, you may be capped at, let's say $1,000 or $2,000. The good credit, you may be capped at, let's say $3,000 or $5,000 and rarely $10,000. Let's say for the Quicksilver card, you may be capped at $20,000 or higher. You may not even get a cap for this card because it's an excellent card, and you already showed responsibility when you applied, so they're not going to cap you too much for it. So what I'm about to show you is I'm about to get right into how I'm able to help you and how I've been able to help people who's starting out with 0 to 6 months of credit age get into those categories where you would have to have great or excellent credit to have. All you would need to do is have some type of structure, and you don't even have as much age as you're supposed to have for these cards. And I'm getting people into Cat One Venture X credit cards, which the start limits for these cards is a minimum of $10,000. So what I usually do to get people into this card is, after most of the people that come to me, they get their credit fixed. They're business owners and they want to get funding fast. So what we do is we go trade line, we go 1 or 2 credit builders, and if they already have some type of age or they already have some type of good credit on their profile, we just add a trade line on there, let the trade line hit, and then approve them. We get them approved for the $10,000 or even $30,000 credit limits. I'm going to show you here again, as I'm not just saying these things, I've actually done these things. And the reason we're able to get them approved is data points. It's the data points. This is how you get your first high limit credit card, by using data points. Data points is the easiest and the best way to get high limit credit cards without your profile being too much of what they usually require. So I'm going to give you guys the data points as well. So the data points that I use to get people approved for these high limit credit cards is, I use 185K to 245K. It is perceived income. You always say you're employed. If they ask you, are you going to do cash withdrawals, you always say no. And then for the monthly rent, be anywhere between $1,200 to $1,800, and you would say rent because you don't want to get extra flagged and they ask you for certain documents, etc. So just be very mindful with that as well. And then what we do is we just run them through from there, and they get approved for $10,000 to $20,000 or $30,000 credit limits with the Capital One. This is a Capital One Venture X card. This is the only cards we're getting our clients when they're first starting, because it's the best way to do it. Let's go over this one more time, and we'll go over it with you again. So always say you have employment status. Always choose employed. If you select self-employed, you'll be considered high risk, and it may limit the amount of credit line you will get approved for, since Cat One may consider you high risk or your income unstable. You don't want to be considered as that, especially if you want to get high limit cards. And how much should you spend on the card? Use 30% of the available credit. For example, 30% of a $10,000 credit card is $3,000. This amount should trigger an automatic credit line increase, and you won't be looking risky. All right, so the maximum desired line is always 20% higher than the actual line I'm looking for. For worst case scenario, Cat One will simply counter offer you with a limit. Like I just got counter offered for a limit. I asked for 40,000. They countered offered me for a different limit. All right, so this is how you use data points, and this is why you have been capped at certain limits, and why you probably haven't heard of the bracket or the bucket list, because it's hidden. It's something that you have to study and learn, and this is the reason why you are not getting these high limit cards. If you want more information like this, just like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to keep dropping gems like this, more relative. I got to get more consistent on YouTube. It's a new platform for me, but I love giving out information. Thank you guys